ice cream. All the ice cream in my house, in the world, and most of my stuffed animals.
My video games and, my phone.
What would you give for your freedom? Would you give your eyesight? Would you give ever seeing the sunset again? Would you give the ability to see your children's future? Thousands of brave men and women who served in the United States Armed Forces have given their eyesight in defense of our freedom. And the Blinded Veterans Association wants to give them their freedom back, but it needs your help. Go to BVA.org to find out about how BVA's free programs and services, advocacy, education, peer support, scholarships, and more help America's heroes to not just deal with the emotional and physical issues of sudden sight loss or impairment, but actually work to get them back to the independent lives they deserve to live. Go to BVA.org to find out how you can make a difference. They fought for your independence, and by going to BVA.org, you can find out how to help these veterans regain theirs. Go to BVA.org today.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Welcome to InSight to Fitness, where we prove that living a fit and healthy lifestyle is not only possible, but also incredibly rewarding for individuals who are blind or visually impaired. Produced by Wisdom for the Blind and VNS Productions, this podcast is your go-to resource for discovering fun and innovative ways to stay active and healthy. Join us as we explore new approaches to fitness and wellness, showing that limitations are just opportunities waiting to be transformed. Let's dive in and have some fun. From the studio in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, here are your hosts, Benjamin Keeley and Tyler Merren.
As always, Keith, you make us look good. And everybody, welcome to another episode of InSight to Fitness with Tyler and myself, Ben. We're in the Fort Lauderdale studios, and we're actually all virtual. Tyler, how are you doing today, buddy?
Ben, I am fantastic. How are you doing? I'm
good. Just got back from ACB and NFB. It was great. Met a lot of cool veterans, a lot of cool people, and I learned a lot. It was a great 2 weeks of being in Orlando and Jacksonville, and it was just real cool. It was a great opportunity.
Those are some fantastic events. Anybody who's not experienced going to one of those conventions and just kind of that convergence of the blind population and all of the cool tech and things that are being done and just breakout sessions and just, it's a whirlwind, man, but it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Unfortunately, they run back to back, and I'm kind of like beat, and but I learned a lot, met a lot of good friends, and it was just a great networking charm, and getting back here and get an opportunity to hang out with you, so it's pretty cool.
Rock on, man. Glad you made it through.
Well, I'm glad that you're with us. So I have a little question for you.
What's that?
Left our audience on our last episode, you were supposed to get some information. Well,
I did. Yeah, I received some information.
And how did that go?
As of the recording of this podcast, just a few days ago, got the call from the coaches for the USA men's goalball team, and I will be a 5th-time Paralympic athlete. That is the official news.
So that is
pretty exciting.
That's great.
Yeah, very excited. Very, very excited. I'm really excited to go and represent the team. I'm also really excited about the opportunity for some of these. We've got 3 brand new Paralympians, some young guys. I don't know. I may have said this before on this podcast, but I'm not even being facetious as a real thing. So I'm going to be playing at the Paralympics with guys who were in diapers when I went to my first games. So it's kind of a crazy scenario. But my 5th Paralympic Games. I'll be headed to Paris in about 50 days. I think it's 48 days and counting. Just really, I'm really pumped. It's such a huge blessing.
Wow, that's great. And we're happy for you. So when do you start team training? I know you started in our last episode, you talked about that. But when are you going to be getting into the team and start doing some strategy and some games and planning and all that?
Today, actually. We're recording this podcast. I am, when I'm done here, I'm going to drop the microphone and head out the door to the airport. So, we've been obviously prepping and training for quite a long time, months, even years for this event. And, the team is named, pieces are in play. So I'll be headed to our residency program this weekend and getting on the court with the guys and trying to solidify who's going to be where and what scenarios. And we're gearing up, man. It's getting close.
So that is so cool. So how many veterans and how many newbies?
So it's a split. We've got 3 guys that'll be brand new and 3 guys who are returning athletes. One athlete, this will be his 2nd, another 3rd, and I am bringing up the rear or leading the charge, I guess, whichever way you want to flip it, with 5. So, like I said, I'm the old guy on the team. I'm the grandpa, and that's that's okay with me. I get to go and have some fun with these kids, so it's going to be great.
So that kind of like makes you like the grandpa, huh?
That is me and our assistant coach. His name is Grandpa, so I'm Grandpa 2, number 2, GP 2. So. Yeah, that's great. Not a title I super enjoy, but you know what? If the shoe fits, right?
Well, I fall in that grandpa role also, so don't worry about it. So
it's a fun club, from what I hear.
And we talk about traveling, and actually today, as soon as the podcast is over, you're going one direction. Guess what? I'm going in another, and I'm getting
very exciting.
Over to
where are you headed?
I'm heading to Spain, and then. I'm going to pick up a princess, the Sun Princess, and we're going to travel around the Med and go into Greece. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that sounds pretty exciting. I haven't been to Greece in over 20 years, but I was there in 2004 for the games and went and saw a few sites. I don't know what you'll get a chance to see, but there's some really, really cool stuff in Greece to tour around. Some very ancient history stuff there is very cool.
Well, we're looking forward to that. We're going to end up in Athens, and we're going to spend some time, and that's going to be right around the same time that the Olympics are starting up, the regular Olympics in Paris. So, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about, you're going to get ready to go across also. What kind of things can we do while we're on that airplane and while we're traveling around to keep the blood flowing, and especially my legs, they swell up like watermelons,
And you're not the only one. So traveling and exercising, isn't that like kind of the big thing, right? Like the bane of most people's existence when they think about getting away from their usual setup, whether you go to a fitness center or you've got equipment at home and you're on the road, your schedule is crazy. You may not be getting the right amount of sleep. Like, what do you do in that situation? And so I think this is a really good topic to cover, and we can hit a few different things as we go through the podcast and talk about this subject. But maybe just start with the start, right? Start with the basics of, when we talk about exercise, we're really just talking about movement. And the trick with traveling, especially long flights, is you're not moving much, right? You're you're sitting in your chair, you may be in a middle seat, you've got people all around you. Like, it's difficult to get up and get your body moving. So you're a bit limited. Few things that you can do, though, in a situation like that. Number one is any chance that you can get up, you should take it. If you can fall asleep and it's an overnight flight, good, get your rest. If it's kind of throughout the day, get yourself up and move when you can. A little trick that we use on our team, and a lot of people do this, a lot of athletes traveling will do this. Say you're flying out of Chicago, Atlanta, Newark, one of those bigger airports. You're headed for Europe. That's 5 hours minimum, right? That time zone changed. Yeah, depending on where you're going. Set your clock while you're still in the States, right? You're departing at 5:00 p.m. It's actually 10:00 p.m. in the destination you're going to. That's about your bedtime. So, aim to get a little bit of sleep on the plane if you can.
Well, you're starting
otherwise
that time change starting in early.
Yeah, exactly. Starting that time change ahead of time. Otherwise, try to keep yourself awake. Think about the time zone you're headed into. Anyway, side note, but keeping yourself moving as best you can is crucial. Now, if you can't get up and move, there are some little things that you can do, some kind of minor tips and tricks. Sitting down, there's a maneuver that you can do called a soleus push-up, an SPU. So now the soleus is the muscle, one of the main muscles in your lower leg behind your shin. So it's part of your calf muscles. You've got your gastrocnemius, which is like the real big muscle on the surface that you can kind of feel. You flex your lower leg and you can kind of feel that muscle sticking out.
Is that like the calf area?
Yeah, the calf area, exactly. So that's your calf. When people say your calf muscle, they're typically talking about your gastrocnemius. But then kind of deeper underneath that and a little bit lower towards your Achilles, you have what's called your soleus. Now I can get into the biomechanics of which one activates at which times. Generally, as you're standing up, your knees are straight. You lift your heels up off the ground. That's your gastrocnemius. But if you're sitting down in a chair with your knees bent, and then you drive your knees up, keep your toes on the ground, lift your heels up, that's activating your soleus. And there are some really interesting studies about the soleus muscle and its effect on the body when you can get that activated, even if you're in a seated position. It's glucose uptake. So if you're somebody who has a difficult time controlling blood sugar levels, doing soleus push-ups where you're sitting in a chair, you drive your heels up off the ground, kind of dig your toes in, lift your heels up, and then let them back down, lift your heels up, let them back down. You're doing a soleus push-up. Activating that soleus can really do a good job in soaking up some of that extra glucose that might be in your blood, getting your blood flowing as well. Okay, starting that pump down low in the legs and moving the blood up through your body is another thing that soleus push-up will do. Because your muscles are pumps. When we don't activate our muscles, when we don't flex our muscles, then the blood will pool in the veins at our extremities and won't circle back to the heart as readily as it should. The pressure inside your veins is zero, right? Your blood pressure, Ben, when you go to the doctor, he does the arm cuff and he'll say, 120 over 80 or higher or lower, depending on, who you are, how stressed out you are for the day, right? That's a measure of the pressure inside your arteries. That's all the blood coming from your heart. But the stuff going back is all zero pressure, and it's pushed back to your heart by you moving, by you flexing your muscles, squeezing the veins, and pumping that blood back up. So it's really important to move to get all that blood flowing back up, to get the swelling back into the lymphs and moving back up towards the upper part of your body.
How would that work? I've got the lymphedema in my legs there, so that would help also getting that fluid going out of that ankle.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Getting it moving, that will help. You can also wear compression socks. That's something else that other people will do. Some people swear by it. Others like, it's not effective. It doesn't help me. So I think the jury's still out just a little bit on whether or not compression socks when you travel are really like the thing to do. But that's something that can help keep the swelling out of your lower legs. It almost, think about it almost turns your lower legs into a tube of toothpaste, right? The socks literally physically compress your legs and help push that swelling up into your body so it can get back through the proper systems and get circulated through the body.
Yeah, I try and I have some compression socks. I try and wear them on long flights. Sometimes the problem is that they get too tight, and then you're a little uncomfortable during that long flight. But they, I do believe that they do help. But, I like the idea of moving that around. One of the other things I wanted to talk about, we're going to take a break here in just a second. But when we come back, can we talk about the things that you hear about? A lot of water, a lot of less alcohol and stuff like that while you're traveling. Does that, really affect the muscles and everything?
Yeah, I think it can. And there are certain things to consider when you think about balancing out your physical reaction to some of those, and whether or not it's going to affect your social experience of it. So, there are a lot of factors. And when we think about a total picture of health, it is really important to factor in not only your physical well-being, but your mental and your social and other things like that. So yeah, let's dive into that a little bit when we get back, and a few other exercises we can talk about and some other devices you can get as well.
Sounds good. Well, this is Ben and Tyler, and we're talking to you from the studios of Wisdom for the Blind, and we're going to be right back. We're going to just check in with the studio. So stick with us, and thanks for joining us.
Wisdom for the Blind is dedicated to doing everything we can for the blind and sight impaired. If you'd like to bless us with a donation to keep the website, the podcast, the webinars, and the radio station operating, we can't express how grateful we'd be. You can go to the website at w4tb.org. That's4tb.org, and hit the donation button. Or you can mail it to Wisdom for the Blind Incorporated. Attention donations. 1005 Marine Mile Boulevard, Suite 255, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33315. Wisdom for the Blind is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Remember, it's tax deductible. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts at Wisdom for the Blind.
Looking for a fitness app that is accessible for the blind? Well, look no further. Revision Fitness is just what the trainer ordered. This audio and text-based fitness program has a wide selection of fitness options, including cardio, strength, yoga, balance, flexibility, and even progressive relaxation sessions. Download Revision Fitness on the App Store or Google Play, or visit revisionfitnessapp.com and get a free 14-day trial for new users. Find your fit with Revision Fitness. And as always,
Revision Fitness.
Let's change the way we look at it.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB Radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Well, thanks for sticking with us. This is Tyler and Ben, and we're back, and this is InSight to Fitness, and we're talking about traveling across the little pond there and different things that you can do, and also getting your body ready to work out and stay fit while you're on vacation. That's like an oxymoron, isn't it?
Is it? Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
You're partying. Let me see.
I totally get. I know. Like, I feel like there are a few folks who are going to hear the segment and kind of roll their eyes. Like, I'm on vacation. Why would I want to exercise? And I get it. It's all good. Zero judgment from me or you, Ben. I think like just
definitely.
I understand.
For me, man.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, it is something to think about, right? Because there's a really good book, and I don't want to get too far down this rabbit trail, but there's a really good book that's pretty popular, pretty well known as Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not, Ben. But it's a really good kind of dissect your habits and why do we do the things that we do? How can we adjust them? And what are habits all about? And it's fantastic. It's not a dry read. It does a really good job. One of the things he talks about in there, though, is when we think about our behaviors, it has a lot to do with the way that we identify ourselves, right? So, to me, the idea of exercising while I'm traveling or while I'm on vacation is totally a normal, like, yeah, of course, because I identify as somebody who's really into fitness. I identify as an athlete. I identify as, I wouldn't call myself a gym rat. I enjoy being physically fit. And so it seeps into the things that I do because of the way I identify myself. And he breaks it down really well in the book as you read through the chapters. But it's something to think about. If you have a goal of like, yeah, I really want to be more fit, right? Like I want to be healthier. Taking a look at the way you identify yourself instead of saying, I'm such a lazy couch potato. I don't like doing anything. Starting to change that rhetoric a little bit and change the way you view yourself, working inside out that way. It changes your behaviors, which eventually changes your outcome. So just something to consider when we take a look at this traveling and exercising piece.
Well, I know that, I'm going on a cruise. I know I don't want to say all, but most of the new cruise ships out there have a nice gym and some great treadmills, and there's going to be a walking course. And I know that when we do our cruise together that you plan on doing some morning workouts too. So even though they're on vacation, we're still going to have the opportunity to walk and have fun. So
yeah, and again, I don't think it's too crazy to think about that. One of the things I tell people, like, there are things you do every single day without blinking an eye at it, right? Blinking is one of them. No pun intended, right? But you go to the bathroom every day, you drink water every day, you eat food every day, you sleep every day, with some rare exceptions through life, right? But it's not too crazy to think like, maybe I should do something beneficial for my physical well-being, my health, do some exercising every day. It's not too wild of a concept.
No, I always enjoy when we go on trips because I end up walking more than I normally do. So that's also good. And believe it or not, my legs get really, the fluids get out of the legs because I do so much walking. So I go back to my leg therapist and they're like, you've been on vacation again.
Take more vacations, Ben. That's the moral of the story, right?
Okay, we'll go with that. So before we had our break, we were getting into a little bit more about like you hear while you're traveling, drink lots of water and don't drink too much alcohol and do this. And, what do you think about that? Is it important to drink a lot of fluids while you're inside the plane and traveling?
Yeah. Simple answer is yes. Yes, it is. And understanding that, the water demand for your body changes constantly, right? So, you know, a lot of times people are like, well, how much water should I drink? Well, it really depends. And I know that drives people crazy, but it does. You know, the water demand of a 6'3", 240-pound professional baseball player doing summer training in Jacksonville, Florida, is going to be very different than the water demand of a 5'4" female working in an executive office, air conditioned building. You know,
right.
you get what I'm saying, right? And so your water demand depends on several factors. Generally speaking, though, when it comes to water, more is better. There are a few medical conditions that it's important to be aware of, that, you know, you want to be mindful of your fluid intake.
Oh, yeah. When I was on dialysis, that was it. You know, like, you need to drink water, but don't drink water. You know, you have to have fluid. But fortunately,
which is not confusing at all, right?
Not at all. But fortunately, the Lord blessed me with a new kidney, and now things are working great. But no, it's always
fantastic.
You have to understand all of that. So.
Yeah. And in situations like that, you know, it is important to be mindful. Generally speaking, though, more is better when it comes to water. And people like, I don't want to drink a lot of water. I'm going to have to get up and pee constantly. Well, I understand. But, you know, the effects of not having enough fluids in your system, of not getting that water in your system. First of all, you don't have what your body needs to circulate nutrients through your body and remove waste. So you start to feel that in your body, fatigue and run down, because your body is not able to get the nutrients in and the waste products out that you need. So staying hydrated just improves how you feel. It'll improve your sleep. It's just essential. And consuming alcohol will detract from that, right? Alcohol is technically a poison. It's something your body has to process, your liver, your kidneys. You have to get that out of your system, and it will dehydrate you. Ultimately, that's what a hangover is, among a few other things, but it's you're severely dehydrated, right? So balancing that against the idea of, like, I'm on vacation with my friends, my family, I want to have a few drinks. It's okay. It really is okay. But know yourself, know your limits, you know, prepare yourself. Like, hey, if you know you're going to go out and have some drinks tonight, prepare yourself by 24 hours in advance, you know, getting yourself well hydrated, drink plenty of water. You know, you're taking a long flight. You can't bring water through security. Bring an empty water bottle and go to a filling station. They're usually filtered. The water is not really any worse than you're going to get out of a plastic water bottle, or you can buy a disposable one for $5 on the other side of security, right?
And that's one of the things that I really the major airports are really stepped up and got those filling stations, you know. So that's real good, and bringing your own bottle. I remember traveling with my family, and we went right before we went through security. Oh, let's all get some water. And we bought bottles of water, and then we get there, and the guy's like, no, that's not happening. And I just spent $17 on this bottle of water. You know?
Yeah, exactly. That's a real thing, right? Like, and you don't want to go without if you can help it. Yeah, if you don't drink water, you'll have fewer bathroom trips, which is nice, but you're just not going to feel as well. And when you go on vacation, you want to feel well, right? Like, isn't that the whole point? Who wants to feel run down on their vacation? So there's a few factors to think about when it comes to the nutrition piece. And, you know, so bringing an empty water bottle with you, I think, is a great move. You know, there are some things that you can travel with, you know, talking about some equipment like a water bottle that can help you with your health and fitness while you're traveling. There are other things that you can drag along as well. We've talked a little bit about resistance bands. They pack down, they travel easily. Those are very effective for doing exercise on the road. As you mentioned, Ben, so many hotels, cruise lines, like they offer fitness areas. They offer ellipticals and dumbbells and other things like that. The exercise equipment that you can use while on the road. So a lot of options for you when you're out traveling, more than you might realize when you really start to get into it.
And one of the things, we're talking about water and fluids and stuff like that. If you guys are going on vacation, the heat is pretty wicked right now. And if you're going to the Bahamas and the Caribbean and all of those places, remember that the sun and the heat is a lot stronger than you're used to. And that just means more fluids that you need to get in your body.
Most definitely. More fluids that you need to get into your body. And even like on an airplane, right? Like the air that recirculates, it's very filtered, that air that recirculates, but it is recirculated air. It's typically pretty dry, so it will dry you out. When we talk about nutrition as well, water, super important, and even some electrolytes potentially when we get in, especially into the sun. When we sweat, which again is very good for our bodies, we're detoxing our bodies through our sweat, but we lose sodium, we lose potassium, and energy drinks, a Gatorade, a Powerade, those sorts of things. Those are designed to replenish those elements that you're losing. And so drinking a lot of water is important, but also balancing that with some of those electrolytes, that will also help you hydrate much better. Your body will absorb water better. You'll actually have to go to the bathroom a little bit less if you mix in some of those electrolytes on occasion. So that's another nutrition piece to keep in mind as well.
So by drinking that power drink or like Gatorade and all that, you're actually balancing the chemical balance in your body, which makes everything run and a little better.
Correct. Yep, exactly. Especially if you've been sweating a lot. Now, if you're just kind of dried out a little bit because you've been in like an airplane in a dry space, it's still helpful. It's not quite as essential, but if your sweat rate is up, you've been at the beach, you've been out in the sun, great time to get some electrolytes in you, and replenish some of those, and that'll help your body absorb that water a little bit more and keep you hydrated.
If you're hanging out at the beach and you're in the water and you're getting there and you feel cool and relax and having a great time, but you're in that heat, but you don't feel the heat because you're in the ocean or the pool, you're still sweating. Is that true?
It's true. Yeah, you are still, your sweat rate may not be as high because your body sweats in order to have the liquid that you sweat out evaporate from your skin. When it evaporates, it pulls heat with it. And so that's what actually cools your body off. So if you're in the cooler temperature of the water, like you're not sweating as much, but you are still definitely losing fluids. You are still getting dehydrated while in the water. That is one of the biggest things that people will mix up. They're like, I've been swimming all day and so I haven't been sweating, but I feel just super dehydrated. Well, that's because you are dehydrated. Seems a little crazy, right? Because you're in water, but you don't absorb it through osmosis. You don't soak it up like a plant does. You have to ingest it. And so, yes, very, very essential.
So it's important to make sure, even though you're playing by the pool or in the ocean, to continue to drink that fluid and reinject the energy of the fluids and everything, the water.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know, that's you hear a lot about heat stroke and stuff like that, and you don't understand it because you're like in the water and you're like, well, I'm playing in the water, I feel great, but you're still losing all that stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, we're going to jump off and take another quick little break, and then when we come back, we're going to continue our discussion. You listen to InSight to Fitness with Tyler and Ben, and please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you enjoy a good read? Or do you enjoy sharing new books with friends? Then join us on the second Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Wisdom Books, a virtual book club just for the blind or visually impaired. You can also hear a pre-recorded episode on Wisdom Radio every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, go to w4tb.org and click the link Wisdom Books for more information. And please don't forget to share the wisdom.
Veterans deserve as much help as they can get. They put their lives on the line for their country, and yet there's still an ongoing mental health crisis among military veterans that needs to be addressed. Well, if you're a veteran who wants the support of fellow veterans and to support fellow veterans, join Wisdom for the Blind's Cup of Joe virtual coffee and chat. It's low-key, fun, and gives veterans an outlet to talk with others who fully understand what they're going through. Get connected at Wisdom for the Blind's website, w4tb.org/cupofjoe.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
And everybody, thanks for sticking with us. This is Ben and Tyler. We're with the InSight to Fitness at the Wisdom for the Blind studios in sunny Fort Lauderdale. So when we were leaving, we were just finishing up some of the stuff that you can do on board an airplane, especially while you're going across the pond. Any other things that you thought that we should talk about for our listeners?
I did actually. I was drinking my water and I started thinking, what about this? So we have on the U.S. team, we get some really cool devices, some stuff to help with recovery and things like that. So something for people to do a little research into is a little device called a butterfly. And picture this, Ben. So like, a standard like Band-Aid where it's got like kind of long tabs on it and they're sticky. So it's kind of like that. But it's got a dial in the middle of it, like the watch, like the face of a watch. And you stick this band on each leg on the outside of your lower knee. Essentially, there's like a really specific way you're supposed to attach it. There's some instructions on there, but it's a STEM unit. It electrocutes you, which I know sounds to people. Yeah, you're like, why would you do that? That sounds dumb. Well, what it does is it pulses, pulse, and it sends a very minor electric current through the nerves of your lower leg into those calf muscles we talked about, the gastroc and the soleus.
Right.
And it causes your muscles to jump and twitch. It takes a little getting used to, but really, really, really effective at keeping that blood flowing, especially while we're sitting on an airplane. Doing the soleus push-ups, very similar. This will actually do it for you. You can sit there on your computer and just let this machine fire away, and it'll help keep your blood flowing very, very well. So something else to consider.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, that would be interesting. And there's no problem taking that on the plane. It's all approved.
Yep, absolutely. I've actually walked through metal detectors with them on my legs before. So, you turn them on and off, but once they're in place, you kind of like, I don't want to reattach these. It's pulling off a Band-Aid and putting it back on. They're kind of sticky and stuff. So, we're coming back from a tournament. We'll leave them on. And as we go from one plane to another, once we sit down, we're going to be sitting for a while. The athletes will turn them on and have them go back to work. So, yep, totally workable.
Very, very cool. So once we get off the airplane and then we're hanging out in the hotel or the cruise ship cabin or we're just out on the beach, what are some of the other things? Like, can you bring some bands with you, or what can you do if you're not on a ship and you don't have this awesome little gym available to you.
Yeah, great call. So bands are a really big one. Resistance bands are very, very versatile. They are very light. They pack down nice and tight. They travel easily. They're just a really, really great way to exercise on the road. So the Revision Fitness app, I have several band workouts on there. There's a few more that are queued up that I'm still working out in the studio, putting together. And there's also in the recommended equipment section, I have a really good band set, a pretty high quality one that's not crazy expensive. It comes with quite a bit of equipment, several loop bands, handles, mini bands, carpet sliders, a jump rope, a few really cool things in there. So easy stuff to carry along with you. Most hotel rooms, depending on where you are, what you're doing, most of them have a standard, latch door in the bathroom where you could put a door anchor really easily. You could do dozens of exercises with the bands and a door anchor. So yeah, very, very easy thing to bring along and to work with other resistance bands.
So that's a little kit that's available on your website, right?
Yes, exactly. It is. It's an Amazon link to a kit that I've purchased and recommended several times. And because you go on there and you type in resistance band kit, you're going to get about 10,000 hits, right? They're just very popular, very ubiquitous. So this is just one that I've tried, tested, and approved.
Very, very good. Very good. So what else would you say that our listeners could do while they're walking around Greece or Paris?
Yeah. So one of the things that's always traveling with you is gravity. Very simple, useful exercise tool, right? So, there are lots and lots of ways. Hotel rooms that have chairs, you and I, Ben, have talked about just a basic sit-stand movement and how this is a primary movement, right? And so finding a chair and setting a timer for 30 minutes, saying, hey, this is my exercise time. I'm going to do some stretches, some balance work. I'm going to use this chair, do some sit stands, and then take a break. And I'm going to do some more stretches. So, using the things around you, a bathroom towel that can create resistance. So there's kind of an old trick where you can take a bathroom towel and grip it and pull it in different directions. Grab the towel like almost like you're doing a bicep curl. So you've got your elbows in tight by your side. You've got your palms facing up towards the ceiling, and you've got this towel kind of draped over your palms. You grab it and you squeeze it and you start to pull it apart, almost like you're trying to rip it, but obviously you're not. And then you straighten and bend your elbows, and you've got all this tension in your muscles as you're straightening and bending your arms. You're not lifting a lot of weights, but you're creating that tension internally, and that helps develop strength and tonicity in your muscles. So really basic things that you can do with just the stuff around you, going up and down stairs, unless you're on the 35th floor, you think about walking up and down the stairs to the third or fourth floor where your room is, right?
And the elevator, taking those stairs. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it takes you an extra, 90 seconds, to 3 minutes maybe, but it's all the difference in getting your hips and leg muscles stretched and moving. It's actually in Europe, it's quite a bit more common to take the stairs. This is in my experience anyway. Like others may speak up differently, but when I first started with the U.S. team and we traveled to Europe, I was a young kid, and I remember our team got to a hotel. We were going to a tournament in Eastern Europe, and we checked in at the front desk, and we were like, where's the elevator? And they kind of looked at us funny, like, you're going to take the elevator? And we're like, yeah. We got to the elevator and it's dusty, and started seeing people walking up and down the stairs. It just seemed like something that was far more common that they did there Whereas in America, we just, where's the elevator? That's going to be our first, our first go-to. So, when in Rome or in Greece, go ahead and do as they do and take the stairs. It's good for you.
So as I'm on my way up to the buffet line on the top deck, you're saying I should use the stairs going up? Get ready for that.
I think you should. I would encourage you. Go for it. Yeah, hit the buffet line and use those stairs, man, whatever it takes. And it's, again, knowing yourself, knowing your schedule. Like, hey, if you're going to be out all day walking and you want to reserve your legs just a little bit, go ahead and take the elevator. You're going to be getting lots of steps in, but it is just a simple way to add in a little bit more movement. But it's the drop of water idea, right? Like, one drop of water isn't a big deal. You can't really grow plants with a drop of water. You're not going to change a rocky beach into a sandy beach with one drop of water, but millions upon millions of drops of water. Now you start to develop some momentum. You start to develop some power and some impact. So one set of stairs may not make all the difference, but you change that habit over a lifetime, and boy, does it make a difference in the long run.
It sure does. What do you think of these step counters? We're going to be walking around Europe, and you think that's a good idea to carry that just to keep track? And I know they're on your phone and everything else now. Yeah,
absolutely. Anytime you can get a gauge on your activity level, I think it's beneficial. Now, I will throw out a caveat because I'm a trainer. I'm always going to tell you the pitfalls that are there as well, right? There are some people who become very obsessed with that, like they get anxious, they get upset if they're not making their steps. So again, know yourself. If that's you, then maybe it's not the best thing to track. However, I think that most people benefit from looking at their numbers and saying, oh, wow, I have only got 2,500 steps today. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and walk up and down the hallway several times. I'm going to stand up and stretch. It's been an hour since I moved. I've been sitting at my desk doing work. I need to get my steps up. And there are some great programs out there that'll do that. The Apple Fitness component, the Apple Watch, closing your rings for standing and moving and exercising, can be just a great way to give you a nudge, give you a reminder to get up and go. So yeah, absolutely. Step counters are great.
Well, and what's real cool is, I know your app is awesome, but technology in a whole is becoming very, saturated into fitness and just helping us to achieve, everything from workouts to diet and, everything. So, checking out your iPhones and the things that you already have or your Android is great, great way of using that technology.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And I think just to create a good picture of the direction to be gone. So the ultimate goal is to get to a point where you naturally and intuitively are accomplishing those things, right? So if you have a goal of drinking more water throughout the day, there are some really cool, useful tools. One of my clients had a Bluetooth water bottle that she would use.
I like that.
And it literally connected to her phone. And every time she drank, it kind of like would measure the amount of water that came out, and it would tell her, you've drank, 33 ounces of water so far today, and so she geeked out about it. It was awesome because she was trying really hard to drink more water, and it kept reminding her, you got to drink more water. And so it was fantastic for her. Right. The goal would be eventually that you're just so used to drinking water, your body feels it, you're in a habit of drinking water. So you don't have to worry too much about the numbers, and you get to that point of just knowing. But using those tools to start off with, to give you a good measure, to give you a sense of the level you're trying to reach, super helpful.
Well, that's very cool and great advice. Well, we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up and talk a few more things. So if you stick with us, and this is Ben and Tyler, and we're InSight to Fitness, coming to you from the studios of Wisdom for the Blind. Please stay with us, and we'll be right back finishing up the health and keeping you aware while you're traveling, different things that you can do. So stay with us.
VA's Office of Blind Rehabilitation Services estimates there are approximately 130,000 veterans in the United States who are legally blind, and more than 1 million veterans who have low vision that causes a loss of ability to perform necessary daily activities. In this era of instant communication, where we get overwhelmed with data or facts that are useless to unsighted individuals, wouldn't it be great if we could count on news focused on real problems that impact the daily lives of veterans without sight? Introducing Wisdom for Blinded Veterans, an advanced informational portal designed by blind veterans specifically for blind and vision-impaired vets that, like them, are facing challenges every day. Hi, my name is Ben, and I know the frustration. I've struggled in day-to-day tasks for over 20 years since I lost my eyesight. One of my biggest challenges has always been trying to stay up to date with the latest information of my eye disease, local news, and the ever-changing technology. I wanted to be able to have one single site that merged all the data scattered, and that's why we created Wisdom for Blinded Vets. This is a portal that can be accessed via the web, a smartphone app, telephone, email, text messaging, or Amazon's Alexa. It integrates with readers such as JAWS or Apple's VoiceOver and various other tools to give you a seamless experience. This portal will keep us updated on a variety of topics and will share knowledge that can help make our lives easier and more fulfilled. Highlights of the topics covered on the portal include podcasts, events, news, blind rehab and training, information on the BVA and other groups, a list of coordinator and bros list, online groups to interact with fellow vets facing the same challenges, and much more. Give us a try. You will not be disappointed. To learn more about us, visit our website www.w4bv.org. If you're interested in sharing your knowledge, please consider becoming a contributor by logging into our portal and going to the contributor section for more information. Wisdom for Blinded Veterans, transforming blind veterans' lives.
Wisdom for the Blind is dedicated to doing everything we can for the blind and sight impaired. If you'd like to bless us with a donation to keep the website, the podcast, the webinars, and the radio station operating, we can't express how grateful we'd be. You can go to the website at w4tb.org. That's w4tb.org and hit the donation button. Or you can mail it to Wisdom for the Blind Incorporated. Attention donations. 1005 Marine Mile Boulevard, Suite 255, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33315. Wisdom for the Blind is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Remember, it's tax deductible. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts at Wisdom for the Blind. You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Well, this is Ben and Tyler. We're back with InSight to Fitness on our last segment. And we've been talking about traveling and while you're traveling, being able to keep up and do some of your workout and utilize the tools and everything that are available to you. So, Tyler, what do you think about when you're getting ready to go and you're preparing your bag. Anything you think that you should make sure you throw into that bag before you leave?
Yeah. Being prepared for success is a really big part of this, right? One of the things I have set up in my Revision Fitness app, I've got a series of lessons to work through called the Action Items series. And one of the first things I go over is like, look, if you want to be successful at fitness or anything else, it requires some planning, some forethought, right? So to put some energy into like, well, how are we going to get this done? People don't just show up at the Super Bowl and look around and go, I wonder how I got here, right? It's a very methodical, planned out, progressive achievement that they have. So your fitness is the same way. You think about going on a trip like this and you're saying to yourself, I want to take good care of myself. I want to enjoy my trip. I want to have some drinks. I'm going to be out in the sun and enjoy it. But I also want to take good care of myself because I identify as the type of person who takes good care of my health wherever I am, whenever I am. So you're packing your bag and you're throwing in, your business attire, you're throwing in nice dress shoes and all of those things. But you make a separate stack of exercise stuff, lightweight t-shirts and shorts. You have some tennis shoes, some good footwear, something comfortable. You throw in a sweat towel and a jump rope and your resistance bands. So you're planning ahead for the success that you want to have with fitness. So just encouraging you to utilize that packing process to be successful in this venture that we've been talking about.
And I think that's important, just making sure that you're prepared, and it's not that much extra in your suitcase there, just make sure you have a good pair of tennis shoes and some socks to go with that. But, the bands are lightweight, and there's all kinds of things that you can do in the hotel room or your ship's cabin to do that. So I think that's just a great idea. And so we've talked about a lot of great stuff today, and I'm really excited about you making the team, my friend. And when do you get to? So you're leaving this afternoon, just like me, and start working out. What's your daily workout going to be?
So we have our pool set. So there are 8 teams for the goalball competition, 8 men's teams that are going to be there. We are in a pool. Team USA is in a pool with Brazil, France, and Iran. So we at this particular training camp this weekend, we are going to be doing scouting reports on those teams, training specifically for the tendencies and things that those teams will implement. And beyond that, we are going to be scouting the rest of the teams past this training event. We have another camp coming up a few weeks after that. And we'll be departing for Paris probably August 19th or 20th. The games will actually begin August 29th and go through September 5th. So they are not too far away, my friend, and I'm feeling it. I'm nervous and excited all at the same time.
Well, we're going to be right there with you. The audience is going to be there. So I want to know, you're talking about stairs and everything. So you're going to climb the Eiffel Tower?
Climb the Eiffel Tower? Oh man, I've seen a lot of pictures of it, but I don't know. How tall is it really? Like I don't want to commit to something here that I can't. I'm not sure.
I took the 3 elevators. So.
Yeah, right. Listen. I would love to be able to say that not only did I go to the top of the Eiffel Tower, but I took the stairs the whole way. That would be super cool.
That would be.
Maybe just after the tournament, I'd do that.
Yeah, you don't want to
worry. Right.
Well, I think this
absolutely.
has been good. What we're going to do is we're going to just check with you, make sure we didn't forget anything, and then we're going to run into the studio. They got a few things to do, and then we're going to come back and wrap it up. So anything that you think we should just throw in there before we throw it over to the studio?
I think that we've covered a lot of really good ground. There's certainly more that could be discussed, but I think for us, Ben, it's throwing the ball back to the listeners, right? We've given you some options. We've given you some things to consider. There are a lot of other resources out there. There's a lot more information to gather up, but there's really no excuses, you know, and I say that with all love and sincerity, right? It's not to push, not to tighten down the thumb screws on anybody, but there's just no excuse. There's so many options for you to be active, to get yourself moving, and just encouraging you to take that time for yourself, because let's be real, you're worth it. You are worth the time and the effort and the energy to take good care of your body.
That's right.
Throwing the ball back to them.
And we want them to come back and listen to our show. So they got to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And be a fitter version of themselves as they do.
Correct. All right. Well, we're going to throw it over to Allie in the studio. She's just going to give us some updates on some information going on, and then we'll be back and wrap it up. So stick with us, and we're going to turn it over to Allie.
Thank you, Ben. And to our listeners, thank you for dropping in today to listen to InSight to Fitness with Benjamin Keeley and Tyler Merren. Now to our first story. With the 2024 Paris Summer Olympics approaching, there have been a plethora of great stories to follow as the U.S. has some great athletes representing our country. Legendary gymnast Simone Biles has an opportunity to make history at the Olympics while the defending champions of Russia will be staying home. In the year of 2020, in the Tokyo Olympics, Simone Biles and the U.S. gymnastics Olympic team left without the gold. However, this year's nation team believes that they are stronger than ever. On the U.S. men's basketball national team, NBA All-Star Kawhi Leonard has decided to withdraw himself from the Olympic team to focus on his body and his health for the next NBA season. Leonard will be replaced by 2024 NBA champion Derek White of the Boston Celtics. In the year of 2020 of the Tokyo Olympics, 100-meter and 200-meter track superstar Sha'Carri Richardson qualified for the Olympics. However, after testing positive for THC, or what some would call a performance-enhancing drug due to the not knowing how to cope with the passing of her biological mother, she was disqualified from competing in the Tokyo Olympics after making a human mistake. Here we are in the year of 2024, getting ready to go into the Paris Olympics, and Richardson has qualified to compete for a medal once again. Sha'Carri Richardson is back better than ever. As she would say, she isn't back, she is better. The U.S. has some very stellar athletes ready to compete for our country and bring home the gold. In our next order of business, there is an ancient technology that is keeping millions of people cool across India. This technology is cheap and low energy, and is keeping water, food, people, and buildings cool in India. India has endured its worst ever heat wave this summer. The capital, Delhi, held a record high of 127 degrees Fahrenheit on May 29, while India's northern states have sustained temperatures of more than 42 degrees during the daytime. The rainy season is about to begin, which will cool temperatures. But in the coming years, things will only get worse. Special pots made from clay, when combined with water, can be used to chill drinking water and the surrounding air. They are helping millions of households that don't have air conditioning and refrigerators stay cool. Lastly, as we have seen the first presidential debate for this year's election between former President Donald Trump and current President Joe Biden, U.S. citizens and the Democratic Party are beginning to worry largely about the health of current President Joe Biden and if he can run our country effectively for another 4 years. While some believe that Joe Biden should drop out of the presidential race for the Democratic Party, Biden assures fellow Americans that he can run this country for another term. Don't forget to share the wisdom with a friend. Thank you to our listeners and the Wisdom for the Blind studio. Now back to you, Ben and Tyler.
Hi, I'm Christina Hepner.
And I'm Leslie Hoskins, and we're hosts of the Taking the Lead podcast from Leader Dogs for the Blind.
Our podcast provides insight into the blindness community and impactful stories from our clients.
At Leader Dog, we continue to be the answer for thousands who need our free services. These include guide dog training, white cane training, and more. Once clients complete training, they're reintroduced to a life of safety and independence.
Learn more at leaderdog.org.
Are you a big geek? Do you enjoy learning about new technology? Then join us on the fourth Thursday of every month for the Wisdom Geek Club at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also hear a pre-recorded episode on Wisdom Radio every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, hit up w4tb.org and click on the Geek Club button on the main page. And don't forget to share the wisdom with a friend. You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Allie, thank you very much for that update. You guys are doing a great job in the studio there. We appreciate you keeping us up. And this is Ben and Tyler. We're back. We're going to wrap it up here. You're listening to InSight to Fitness from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So, Tyler, it's been a great show. And next time we talk, you'll be on your way to Paris. I'll be on my way back from Greece. But I'm real excited for you, and I bet the family's like really stoked about this, aren't they?
The family's really excited. As crazy as it sounds, so this is my 5th Paralympic Games. This will be the first time that my family, my wife, my children, their spouses will be able to go and see me compete.
Oh, cool. So the whole family's going too?
The whole family's going. We've been very blessed. We got an opportunity to be able to set them up with some travel and accommodations, and they're going to be there to watch me at the games. My dad was able to see me compete in my very first games, and so to have my wife and kids there at these games, it's very special. So I'm beyond excited, and I'm just glad that I got a chance to sit in the studio with you today and chat about this, the travel and the fitness stuff. And it's always fun. It's always fun being in here with you, Ben. I appreciate it, man.
I think it's a great time. And I'm not going to be in Paris, but I guarantee you we're going to be watching and cheering you on. And all our listeners are going to be doing the same. And I want you to, real quick, just talk about your app there and how the listeners can get a hold of that. And I think we have a little promo if it's their first time using it, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Revision Fitness is the name of my audio-based fitness app designed to be accessible for people who are blind and visually impaired. So we talked a little bit, Ben, today about resistance bands. There are dozens of resistance band exercises and a few workouts on there. And there are lots of other all body weight. So the program really travels well. Many things that you can do right in your own hotel room that are very, very good for overall balance, strength, cardio, flexibility. So you can download the Revision Fitness app on the App Store or Google Play, or you can go to revisionfitnessapp.com. And for any listeners here, we don't want to let the secret out too much. You guys are special. Any listeners to this program who download and start their 2-week free trial, you can click on the Contact Us button, right? Sends an email directly to me, and you can put in that email Wisdom for the Blind, and I will extend your trial period. So you get an extra 2 weeks. You get a full month free to try the program out. You have access to every drop of material there. And I will say that once the trial is done, if you continue to train, it is not expensive to keep it going. There's a a nominal fee that helps me kind of keep the program floating and add in new materials and all of that. So lots of people signed up and enjoying the program, and I hope you do as well.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. And also remember that you can send some support for Tyler as he goes to the Olympics in Paris. It represents the United States and our brothers and sisters. Remember that you can send it to info@w4tb.org. We'll make sure that he sees that and knows that our listeners are behind him and the team as they represent the United States. So we're real excited about that. Well, my friends, I think I'll talk to you on our August episode right before you start the games. But I wish you the best in your training, and we'll be with you. And thanks for sticking and doing another great show. And everybody, enjoy your vacation. But remember, stay healthy. Haley, anything you want to say as we wrap up, my friend?
I think you said it very nicely. Thank you so much, Ben, for having me on. And enjoy your trip. Stay safe. Take the stairs. Have some fun.
All right. Well, once again, this is Tyler and Ben, InSight to Fitness. Thanks for joining us again. Come back and see us again. And have a great week. And remember one thing, share the wisdom, tell a friend. Thanks.
Looking for a fitness app that is accessible for the blind? Well, look no further. Revision Fitness is just what the trainer ordered. This audio and text-based fitness program has a wide selection of fitness options, including cardio, strength, yoga, balance, flexibility, and even progressive relaxation sessions. Download Revision Fitness on the App Store or Google Play, or visit revisionfitnessapp.com and get a free 14-day trial for new users. Find your fit with Revision Fitness. And as always,
Revision Fitness.
Let's change the way we look at it.
What's more perfect than exploring other cultures and dipping your toes in turquoise waters? And doing these things with your family and, of course, your brothers and sisters at Wisdom for the Blind. Don't miss Wisdom for the Blind's first Caribbean Forum at Sea aboard the Carnival Celebration, with games including mini golf, a relay race, basketball, and more. There will be learning workshops in technology, the VA, and medical advancements for the blind. The cruise sets sail from Miami on October 27, 2024, and will go through amazing ports like Costa Maya and Cozumel in Mexico, and Mahogany Bay in Roatan, along with 3 spectacular days at sea. Make lasting friends and incredible memories while learning about fabulous cultures and customs. The cruise starts at just $405 per person based on double occupancy, not including taxes and fees. Go online to w4tb.org/forum or email Wisdom for the Blind at forum@w4tb.org. Book now, space is limited, and don't forget to share the wisdom and tell a friend.
You've been listening to InSight to Fitness, produced by Wisdom for the Blind and VNS Productions, a division of VNS International. Being blind or unsighted doesn't mean you can't live an active, healthy lifestyle. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, visit the website at w4tb.org. Don't forget to share the wisdom and tell a friend.